In the bustling town of Alterna, Haruhiro and his companions find themselves amidst a typical day of adventuring. The city hums with the energy of its markets and the everyday chatter of its inhabitants. As the group sits, contemplating their next move, the familiar clanging of bells echoes through the air, signaling an emergency. The cry of orcs quickly ripples through the crowd, sending waves of panic and chaos throughout the streets. Haruhiro is jolted to attention by the shouts and commotion, yet there's a moment of disbelief as he grapples with the unfolding reality. The tranquility of the market unravels into turmoil as goods are scattered and people scramble for safety. Amidst the disarray, Haruhiro's mind races. The safety of his friends weighs heavily on him. Mary, one of his companions, quickly confirms that orcs are likely the threat. Haruhiro, ever the cautious thinker, realizes the gravity of the situation. If enemies are attacking, the guards must have been defeated. The streets swell with panic as villagers and adventurers alike flee. Haruhiro, caught in the tide of the masses, struggles to find refuge. He stumbles into a darkened area filled with curiosities, a shop owned by an elderly woman named Barbara. Against the backdrop of the chaos, Barbara remains calm, even chiding Haruhiro with sharp wit. Barbara, a magician of sorts, engages Haruhiro in a tense banter about his capabilities as a volunteer soldier, questioning his courage and insinuating that he has much to learn. Haruhiro is taken aback by her boldness, but the banter provides a bizarre solace amid the growing chaos outside. Their exchange is abruptly halted as an orc charges into their vicinity. Barbara's eyes narrow at Haruhiro, her voice crisp with urgency. "Go on, bunch of thief," she commands. Reluctantly, Haruhiro springs into action against the looming orc. His movements are clumsy, marred by fear and inexperience, but desperation sharpens his focus. Just as things look dire, Rinji, a seasoned adventurer with a commanding presence, arrives. His quick, decisive actions effortlessly deal with the orc, showcasing the gap in skill between them. Rinji's presence provides a moment of relief, but the orc threat is far from over. More orcs emerge, escalating the situation into full-blown pandemonium. Standing beside Renji, Haruhiro can only watch as a more seasoned group, including the fierce warrior Ron and the agile Chibi-chan, jump into the fray. With precise coordination, they repel the orc onslaught. However, the tension lingers as the orc leader, Ishdogran, a formidable foe, confronts them. The air crackles with tension as Rinji, with an unwavering gaze, steps up to face the orc leader in a duel that commands the attention of all gathered. "I'm Rinji. You want to fight me, Ishdogran?" Rinji challenges, his words laced with determination. The ensuing battle is a fierce clash of skill and will, each warrior striving to overpower the other. Sparks fly from their swords as the titans collide, their movements a dance of power and precision. As their blades lock in a struggle for dominance, the ground beneath them seems to tremble in anticipation. Haruhiro watches, entranced by Rinji's courage and prowess. Even amidst uncertainty, Haruhiro feels a flicker of hope inspire him anew, reminding him of the strength born from unity and resolve. The air is thick with tension as the battle unfolds between Rinji's group and Ishdogran, a formidable orc. Haruhiro watches Rinji, who seems like a force of nature, skillfully dodging and countering each attack. Ishdogran lunges at Rinji with fierce energy, trying to overwhelm him with aggressive blows. But Rinji is unfazed, he can take him. He can beat him. Go do it. Take him down. Rinji's charismatic grin widens as he maneuvers around Ishdogran, evading danger with a dancer's grace. Ishdogran's relentless onslaught feels almost ritualistic, targeting Rinji with heavy strikes that seem to connect yet somehow don't bring him down. Rinji is undeterred, a powerful contrast to the clumsy ferocity of his opponent. Haruhiro observes, amazed at how Rinji maintains a deadly calm even as danger looms. In the heat of the struggle, Rinji's demeanor shifts. The playful smirk is replaced by intensity as his blade rises with a purposeful swing. The impact leaves Haruhiro on edge, knowing the significance of every blow exchanged. Finally, Rinji seizes an opening and delivers a barrage of strikes with relentless accuracy, undeterred by a superficial injury that Ishdogran managed to inflict. Ishdogran is overwhelmed, his attacks no longer finding their mark, and Haruhiro knows Ranji is moments away from victory. Beside Haruhiro, Chibi is tense, her expression intense as she mutters under her breath. It's the same as last time. He's gonna die. As the fight crescendos, Ranji makes his move, delivering a final, determined blow that ends Dogran's life. The battlefield falls silent, an abrupt contrast to the chaotic clash each combatant has survived. With Dogran defeated, Ranji stands triumphant. Adachi and the others look on with respect mingled with a hint of awe. Ranji's strength isn't easily rivaled, and his dominance is clear. A noticeable camaraderie forms among the group as a sense of relief blossoms. They have survived the ordeal against an intimidating opponent. Amidst the aftermath, Haruhiro grapples with his internal dialogue. Shihoru's mage hat is missing. When did she lose it? He can't quite recall, captured by the whirlwind of events. Haruhiro's contemplation is interrupted as they regroup and leave the scene, taking stock of their success while carrying an aura of victory tinged with solemn introspection. Later, regrouped in Sherry's tavern, the atmosphere shifts again. There's excitement in the air as Mary listens to the tale. Yume, Shihoru, and Ronta relate the fight's details, praising Ranji's prowess against Dogran. Haruhiro senses a deep admiration from Mary as she absorbs the story. However, the mood shifts when Ronta, known for his brazen confidence, interjects his reckless thoughts on risk and return. Most of the time, returns come with risks, got it? No risk is no return and no point. The rest of the group listens as Ronta elaborates, but Haruhiro remains introspective, pondering their next steps and avoiding unnecessary risks. Maguzo and Shihoru remain quiet, navigating the complexities of their current lifestyle as novice adventurers. Haruhiro reflects on their need to keep improving while caution reigns supreme in his thoughts. The wider group conversation meanders into everyday banter, yet Haruhiro's mind keeps returning to the real danger they continually face in Grimgar, contemplating possibilities and precarious futures. In a quieter moment, Haruhiro approaches Mary privately, seeking her counsel. Gathering courage, he admits needing advice. "What about me, Haruhiro? What do you think of our party?" Mary's gaze is insightful, seeing Haruhiro's struggle between the dictator and chairman leadership models. She contemplates before answering, recognizing the strengths each approach holds while implying Haruhiro possesses a unique potential not aligned with strict definitions. Mary's gentle reassurances settle over Haruhiro as a subtle confidence builds, urging him to find his distinct path as a leader. Thus, amidst a myriad of emotions and reflections, Haruhiro stands, ready to face the challenges Grimgar has in store, and secure in the bonds among his companions, which steadily forge them into a more cohesive unit. Haruhito stands, grappling with internal conflict. His pondering leadership as he and Mary stroll together. There's tension as Haruhito considers the group's dynamics, feeling unsure about whether he should be in charge. Yet, the notion lingers, leader of the party. He reflects on a conversation about types within leadership. If he could choose, he'd rather be the chairman, not the dictator. Mary walks beside him, recognizing his internal struggle. Haruhito speaks softly, wishing he could articulate himself better. There's an evident disconnect, a feeling of inadequacy he can't shake. Mary's presence is calming, yet Haruhito's mind races, questioning his right to lead or even belong with the group. Shihoru, Yume, and Ronta join in Haruhito's contemplation, suggesting a change of scenery. The decision isn't simple. It clings to Haruhito's mind, those ominous creatures in Siren mines. Following discussions, Haruhito exits the tavern, pondering his options and past actions. Regret clings to him like a shadow. Later, the group sets for the old city of Demuro. Upon entering, goblins patrol like vigilant sentinels. They aren't the goblins they're used to facing, these seem disciplined, armed, not lazy, so Haruhito concludes that they must be from the new city. Preparing for battle, the tension builds. Haruhito attempts to motivate the party, noting that confidence rests on habitual experience. They travel to the mines, a daunting place filled with uncertainty. It's surrounded by typical mountain characteristics, yet its depths hint at menacing secrets. Inside, Mary's precautions become evident. Her advice about light flowers adds a surreal feel to the dark maze. During an encounter with kobolds, Haruhiro and the party deal with the quick, perilous creatures. Haruhiro remains focused, determined. There's frustration, but amidst combat, Mary's logic shines, countering tension with calmness. Ronta's behavior becomes erratic, adding stress. He seems unpredictable, more an irritant than an ally at moments. Haruhito's attempts to steady the group are met with challenges, both from external forces and within their ranks. Despite the chaos, Haruhiro manages to stay composed, rallying his group. When Shihoru's spell brings down a kobold, Haruhiro seizes the chance to strike. The battle rages around them, demanding their collective focus and skill. Victory comes, albeit uneasily. The aftermath rests on interactions and deeper revelations about their motivations and moral quandaries. Mary's approach offers a cold logic, examining the fallen kobolds with a detached air. But Ronta, ever complex, reveals another facet through his crude actions, tearing loot from their enemies without pause. The party presses forward towards the Siren mines, where more dangers undoubtedly await. Haruhito's reflections mirror his uncertain steps, a leader, still learning, laden with cautious optimism and doubt. The weight of leadership looms, and Haruhiro grapples with his place amongst companions, the responsibility he didn't choose, yet bears regardless. The group advances cautiously through the dimly lit tunnels of the Siren mines, where they soon encounter 3 lesser kobolds. Known for their tenacity and swift movements, the kobolds don't back down easily. As Maguzo dispatches one, the second is taken out by Haruhiro, but the third one doesn't flee, thanks to its unique ability to balance and ready itself for further action. Maguzo, with a steady hand, finishes it off quickly. Despite their victory, Haruhiro remains uneasy, wondering why the kobold hadn't run away, pondering if this behavior foreshadows something more ominous. As the tension lingers, Shihoru talks about the hierarchy within the kobold society. She explains that there are kobold elders at the 3rd level and beyond, which may be why they haven't encountered them yet. Mary, joining the discussion, notes, the 3rd level is where things will get started for real. As the party deliberates their next move, Haruhiro suggests they take their time. Suddenly, Ronta stumbles across a hole that descends about 3 meters. This opening may present an opportunity or a deadly trap. Ronta, never one to hesitate, jumps inside, urging the others to follow. Haruhiro's impulse tells him to think twice, and he worries about barging into potential danger. While he muses over the risks, the echo of barking kobold voices interrupts his thoughts, indicating a struggle further within. Cautiously, they proceed, ears attuned, trying to discern if they're hearing a fight or merely a random disturbance. The barks crescendo into an intense chorus, mixing with faint growls. Haruhiro, contemplative as ever, wonders if this signals a larger conflict or a potential ambush. Shihoru clings tighter to Yume, her voice trembling. Haruhiro contemplates turning back, uncertain of the path they should take, when Maguzo offers reassurance with a simple "oh" that conveys much more than the word itself. Mary, starkly present and calm, shares her thoughts, explaining, because from the 3rd level down, there are elders. We have to be very careful. Her words hold a stark gravity that sinks in deeply, reminding them that each step forward from here increases the dangers exponentially. Entangled in their thoughts and decision-making, Ronta interrupts with his philosophy, all are equal before death, he proclaims with an air of arrogance. Haruhiro, trying to navigate the conversation, finds Ronta's perspective grating but reflects inwardly about the need to act despite the fear that looms over him. The group makes an uneasy decision to proceed, using the rope ladders as a guide and a precaution. The descent is fraught with trepidation, and Haruhiro's heart pounds as they move down into the unknown, aware that the odds have shifted against them. He realizes the necessity of trusting each other implicitly as they venture deeper. In their descent, they come across a group of low workers further inside. Haruhiro, unsure of how things will play out, recalls Mary's advice about handling death spots. As they strategize, Ronta, full of bravado, utters his frustrations loudly, urging them to act before their enemies return in force. Maguzo doesn't miss a chance and makes an imposing move against one of the low workers, which stuns and slays it. Their victory feels precarious, the stakes higher now as Haruhiro grapples with both the physical and mental toll of the fight. In the skirmish, Ronta seems to find an odd camaraderie with the adversary, going so far as to dub it his rival. This bravado amuses and irks Haruhiro equally, only adding complexity to the group's dynamics. Battles are fought not just physically but internally, illustrated vividly through Ronta and Haruhiro's multitudinous thoughts. Once the battle subsides, Haruhiro picks up the fallen talismans, mulling over their worth. Despite doubts and struggles, the group begins discussing their retreat, feeling the heavy strain of the day's events. Their excursion was taxing, both physically and emotionally, etching deep marks of exhaustion. Back in Alterna, they sell the loot gathered from the kobolds. The monetary return is less than what Haruhiro had hoped for, still, they find solace in sharing a simple meal, catching their breath and reflecting on the perilous journey. Treasure notwithstanding, Haruhiro grapples with his dual role as a leader and peer, particularly when faced with Ronta's provocations. Ronta taunts and teases, breaking the silence of the moment, doing a bizarre dance that elicits both laughter and frustration from everyone else. Yet despite Ronta's antics, the main concern remains, the looming threat of what lies deeper in the mines. As Haruhiro settles in for the night, he remains uneasy, pondering Ronta's words and behavior. Haruhiro knows they must return, challenge their fears, and reclaim safety, even while struggling internally with his confidence and leadership. In the moments before sleep takes hold, a blend of anticipation and anxiety surfaces about what the next journey will hold. The prospect of facing elders, unknown dangers, and the unyielding mystery of the mines weighs heavily, demanding resilience and unity from Haruhiro and his comrades. Haruhiro stands at a crossroads, faced with an uncharacteristically strong stance from Maguzo. "I am not going," Maguzo insists, leaving Ronta visibly dispirited. Ronta, trying to appear unaffected, declares he'll manage solo, urging them not to worry. His attempt at bravado doesn't mask the loneliness in his voice. The group reacts to this tension, with Haruhiro attempting to mediate. Haruhiro's thoughts linger on the practicality of maintaining the group's current dynamics, especially with Ronta's contentious behavior. He wonders if maybe it would be better for all of them if Ronta were no longer a part of their team. Mary and Yume's unease with Ronta surfaces, adding weight to Haruhiro's internal debate. He questions if there's any benefit to keeping Ronta around, pondering if an external recruit, like Kikawa, might offer a better dynamic. Haruhiro remains conflicted, though, as even with all his faults, Ronta is one of them. At night, Haruhiro listens to Ronta's distinct snoring, pondering if now is the time to speak to him. He decides to confront Ronta outside, proposing a discussion away from the others. Despite Ronta's dismissive demeanor, he joins Haruhiro outside the lodge. "How do I put this? What do you think about it?" "The party, I mean," Haruhiro starts, struggling with his words. Ronta deflects with sarcasm, but Haruhiro pushes back, asking for sincerity. This candid exchange escalates as they delve into the health of their group dynamics. Ronta perceives Haruhiro's cautionary tone as an accusation. "You're saying it's my fault?" Ronta accuses, defensive but aware. Haruhiro tries to stabilize the conversation, noting everyone's strengths and weaknesses, but Ronta presses harder. "What are your faults?" Haruhiro finds himself at a loss. "Faults, my own faults," he acknowledges them silently, knowing he struggles to be a leader without Minato. Later, Haruhiro wonders if he's unfair towards Ronta, wrestling with his own limitations. Doubt gnaws at him. Had they misjudged Ronta? He realizes he must decide soon, unable to shake the burden of leadership Minato left behind. Haruhiro whispers to himself, "I'm the leader now because I have to be." The next day, as the group sets off to the Siren mines, Haruhiro steels himself for the challenges ahead. They enter the familiar yet foreboding mines, their target clear yet daunting. The larger-than-normal kobolds, one named Death Spots, loom over them, an ominous specter of peril. Haruhiro insists on taking the lead down the well where Death Spots lurks. Anxiety grips him, but he steadies his resolve. Hanging from the rope ladder, he's acutely aware of every sound. It's a kobold, a huge elder kobold, unnaturally large. A battle erupts at the well's bottom. Maguzo stands firm against the elder kobold, their clashing swords echoing through the mines. Haruhiro watches, focused on finding his opening. He's overwhelmed by Maguzo and the kobold's strength, feeling outmatched, yet determined to contribute. Yume, next! Haruhiro directs, leading a coordinated assault with Yume and Shihoru. They edge closer to victory, pushing their limits against the formidable foe. In the end, it's a testament to their teamwork and courage that they overcome this towering adversary. As they regroup, Haruhiro reflects on the battle. He sees the stark differences between Minato's leadership and his own attempts. Haruhiro knows he's no Minato, but he grasps something vital: progression. Step by step, carefully and with intention. Empowered by their triumph, Haruhiro realizes that even though he doubts himself, he's grown into his role as their leader. The group is stronger together, and he understands now that leadership doesn't mean leading alone, it means inspiring strength in those who follow. The shadowy figure, a formidable elemental creature, looms menacingly over Haruhiro's team. Despite its ominous appearance, the group's focus is on the elder kobold nearby. Not an ordinary kobold, this elder exudes authority, wearing a distinct chain mail. Maguzo methodically blocks the path with his shield, strengthening his defense as the elder's spear lashes at him with fierce intensity. Grateful for the timely aid, Haruhiro manages to sidestep an attack meant to topple him. Misjudging a jump, he clumsily falls and, not without mishap, lands atop the elder kobold, wrestling it to the ground. Despite the fall, Haruhiro executes his training. Thanks, he yells triumphantly as he drives his dagger into the kobold's neck, though it takes effort to finish the job. Nearby, Ronta is caught in a tight spot, evading a critical attack by rolling onto the ground. He seizes the opportunity to experiment with a new move called Exhaust. Much to his delight, what was meant to be a flashy retreat becomes a novel battle maneuver. Did I just discover an original skill? He muses, excitement shadowing his usually brash demeanor. Yume and Shihoru observe the spectacle with dry humor, unaware of the newfound potential in Ronta's antics. Haruhiro, meanwhile, decides to let Ronta play out his reckless plan. His thoughts reflect a mix of concern and resignation as Ronta gives in to his impulses, charging headstrong towards the next kobold. The story shifts, revealing the rigorous dynamics of battles where foremen lead the charge, orchestrating their group assaults. Haruhiro recalls a day at the Siren mines, vividly comparing the combat strategy to a carefully coordinated dance. Even though the foremen lead with apparent thoughtlessness, their command is critical, especially when Maguzo or Ronta must face the brunt of the immediate attack for the team's survival. Foremen, essentially formidable leaders among kobolds, command their groups through gestures and shouts. Yet, Haruhiro notices that eliminating these foremen is key to breaking down the kobold ranks, shifting the battle in their favor. However, this strategy doesn't come without risks. Their enemies have their own strengths, forcing Haruhiro's team to adapt their tactics continually. Back in Alterna, Haruhiro seeks out Barbara-sensei, his mentor, for training that involves mastering the spider skill in the Thieves' Guild. The training space, as eerie as ever, is filled with dim light from candles flickering eerily, reinforcing the seriousness of their endeavor. Barbara's teaching methods are as intense as ever, as she suddenly knocks Haruhiro to the floor, pinning him down with ease. "Stay still," she instructs sharply, demonstrating just how fierce and unyielding her lessons can be. Barbara's mentorship nudges deeper conversations about life beyond battles, veering into unexpected territory as they rest briefly amidst their vigorous training. Her questions about Haruhiro's personal life add an unexpected layer of warmth to their rigorous sessions, probing into his relationships with his female comrades, particularly Yume, Shihoru, and Meri. Each inquiry nudges Haruhiro to reflect more deeply on his bonds with his teammates, savory moments stealing into their grueling routine. Barbara's shrewd observations strike Haruhiro as insightful, and her comments on dealing with stamina and battle perseverance steer their conversation towards the reality of their adventuring lives. Her astute advice, build up enough stamina that you can kill 5 or 6 orcs and then still go a round or two with a woman, blurs the lines between playfulness and wisdom, casting light on life's dual nature amidst perpetual danger. A new day dawns as Haruhiro reunites with his group, having honed his spider skill without major incident. Together, they resume their tactical outings to the Siren mines, each member having enhanced their skills, Maguzo with defense tactics, Ronta with bursts of aggression, and Yume refining her knife handling. The group thrives on this newfound synergy, their combat effectiveness improving steadily as they battle on familiar terrain. Ronta's confrontational energy remains unabated as he clashes with follower A, a kobold warrior wielding a sudden burst of aggression against him. The encounter escalates as follower A draws a second sword, posing a dual threat. Though Ronta's moves aren't always calculated, they sometimes yield unexpected advantages, catching adversaries off guard. Haruhiro, amid the chaos, contemplates his move, finally deciding on an element of strategy coupled with instinctive action. He grapples boldly with the enemy, locking it down to the ground with persistent pressure, drawing out his spider move as Barbara-sensei taught. As the dust settles, he admires the depth of their training, understanding that in every confrontation, there are decisions to be made so that survival is possible, both individually and as a cohesive team. Together, the group realizes that despite the unrelenting challenges, each skill learned sharpens their edge for survival. Each wound mended builds resilience. Each tactical misstep serves as a lesson in strategy. Their journey carries the weight of experience, hardened by the world's harsh realities, yet driven by the bonds forged in the heart of battle. Haruhiro watches Ronta as he slashes at a creature, already on the brink of death. Even though Ronta's contribution is often questionable, today he managed a finishing blow, making a dramatic scene out of it. In this tense moment, Haruhiro's mind races with thoughts on strategy and performance. The stakes in their dangerous battles are high, and they each know there's no room for error. Yume is quick to finish off another creature using her skills with grace and strength. Maguzo follows her lead, striking down another enemy with his mighty rage blow. They manage to defeat their foes efficiently, each member playing a vital role in their victory. As Haruhiro reflects, he acknowledges Ronta's contribution, admitting that it's fair to call this a private victory. Ronta, never one to let things settle, suggests they progress to a harder level of challenge. Haruhiro isn't convinced, knowing from experience that Ronta tends to push recklessly. However, the thought lingers that perhaps it might be time to change tactics or plans. Haruhito struggles with maintaining patience and composure, especially when Ronta challenges him by announcing, "If you're the only one who's prepared, then it doesn't mean a thing." For Haruhiro, leadership is like navigating through uncharted terrain, every decision heavy with implications. Taking a deep breath, Haruhiro decides that they will rest tonight and focus on preparation tomorrow. As they head back to their lodgings, he can't shake the feeling that he needs to work on his leadership skills. His mind constantly swirls with self-doubt and the pressure to protect his friends. Later, Haruhiro finds himself facing Mary at the tavern. His heart aches with worry about how she'll react to him, especially considering the emotional barriers she carries. There's palpable tension in the air as they exchange greetings. "Is something up?" Mary asks, her voice carrying a hint of curiosity. Their conversation meanders through casual topics before segueing into more personal issues. Haruhiro is struck by Mary's newfound comfort in their rundown inn. Their shared history, tinged with struggles and loss, brings them closer in understanding. As they talk, Haruhiro suddenly doubts his own seriousness and capabilities. Even when Mary advises him with, "Be less serious," he can't help but feel overwhelmed by his inadequacies as a leader. Returning to their lodgings, Haruhiro takes a moment alone in the dimly lit manor that once housed their late friend, Minato. Memories surge through him, a wave of emotions that nearly drowns his resolve. The group's shared moments of silence reflect their shared grief. Every corner of this place holds reminders of what they've lost. The next day reveals Haruhiro's unspoken fears about being a leader. He knows he doesn't naturally possess the instinct, nor the charisma. And yet, he's determined to grow, for the sake of his friends. Their journey leads them to the Siren mines, a place teeming with peculiar creatures. The group observes the inhabitants, with Yume and Shihoru commenting on the strangeness of the pig-like creatures called pig rats. There's an odd mixture of humor and disgust among the group, Ronta providing his usual, albeit unwanted, layer of commentary. Haruhiro takes it all in, increasingly aware of every member's reactions and thoughts. Each decision he makes could spell the difference between their triumph and defeat. Their discussion soon turns serious as they strategize on how to handle an elder kobold guarding the mines. Together, they approach cautiously, devising a plan to lure the elder away. Shihoru takes on a more proactive role, encouraged by Haruhiro. Casting Shadow Elemental, she cleverly weakens their enemy, allowing the team to charge in with confidence and take it down efficiently. Breathing a collective sigh of relief, they know they've succeeded through teamwork and careful execution. Ronta, predictably, swoops in for the kill, earning grumbles and groans from the rest of the group. As they recover from the battle, Haruhiro reflects on their approach, recognizing the delicate balance between risk and reward. But he also knows that without each individual's effort, these victories would be impossible. He acknowledges their growth, both as individuals and as a cohesive team, all while gripping the gravity of their shared path forward. In this moment of triumph mingled with sobriety, Haruhiro realizes that being a leader is not just about making decisions or giving orders. It involves understanding the strengths and weaknesses of each friend, pushing them, supporting them, and above all, believing in them. Meri's presence gives Haruhiro strength he never thought he possessed. With every step, every challenge they face together, Haruhiro's doubts begin to mend, slowly but surely, into a new kind of resolve, a resolve intricately woven with his longing for their safety and success. As Haruhiro finds himself in a tense exchange with Ronta, their usual banter takes an unexpected turn. With remarks about cruelty, Haruhiro chides Ronta for his antics. Yet, amidst the jesting, there's an undertone of earnestness. Haruhiro seems to grapple with Ronta's audacity. Meri steps in with an unexpected retort, matching Ronta's sarcastic flair and reminding the group of her sharp wit. Her playfulness, unexpected yet welcome, lightens the mood. Haruhiro wonders internally if he feels a pang of jealousy, stirring an emotion he wasn't prepared to confront. Trying to steer the group's focus, Haruhiro intends on pressing forward to the next level of their venture. The decision is backed by Meri's cautious agreement. Shihoru and Maguzo nod in unison, and Ronta's enthusiasm seals the decision. With the plan settled, the group ventures deeper into the mine's mysterious depths. Once they descend, Haruhiro notes a significant change. The air is stiflingly hot, a direct consequence of the kobold's working environment. The complex operates like underground furnaces, perpetually buzzing with sound. Kobold workers and elder guards make the environment feel alive and dangerously unpredictable. In the midst of waiting, Ronta's restlessness stirs up irritation within the group. His teasing remarks about Shihoru's appearance get deflected by Yume's playful jesting. Shihoru, albeit a tad embarrassed, joins in the light-hearted exchange. The camaraderie among them is palpable even though danger lurks around every corner. As the group settles into the routine of sharpening their skills, Haruhiro senses heighten. He detects vibrations, a sign that their adversaries, the kobolds, are drawing close. Ronta's bravado resurfaces, but Haruhiro's focus stays razor-sharp as the danger becomes imminent. Kobold elders appear and a tense scuffle ensues. Maguzo charges forward, meeting the enemy with brute strength while Yume and Shihoru employ their own strategies. A shadow elemental emerges, complicating the battle, but with teamwork and strategic blows, they manage to overcome their adversaries. Haruhiro feels a rush of relief and accomplishment as Elder B falls. Amidst the celebration of their victory, Ronta's voice cuts through their triumph. Haruhiro notices a shadowy figure approaching, its eerie wail sending chills through their spines. The weird, dog-like howling heralds an impending threat. More kobolds are on their way. A sudden panic echoes throughout the group. Haruhiro is caught between his instinct to flee and the need to strategize their next move. The situation becomes dire as Maguzo becomes the focal point of attack. In the ensuing chaos, Haruhiro struggles internally, weighed down by an inexplicable sense of déjà vu. Within the chaos, he's haunted by memories of someone named Choco, a figure from a past he can barely recall. Amidst the pandemonium, a flicker of Choco's image seizes him with paralyzing familiarity. As Haruhiro's mind wrestles with these ghosts of forgotten memories, he is thrust back into the immediate reality. The battle rages on, but the haunting presence of Choco lingers, a mystery that gnaws at his consciousness. In the heart of danger, Haruhiro stands at a crossroad, facing both his internal demons and the external threat of the kobolds. The tension is palpable as Haruhiro's party faces off against the kobolds. With adrenaline coursing through his veins, Haruhiro knows dodging isn't an option, he must fight. As the kobolds close in, Ronta suddenly flanks an enemy, crying out, "Take that!" Ronta-sama's coming through. His bravado is unmatched, yet Haruhiro marvels at how Ronta can still move with such raw energy. Despite Haruhiro's hesitation, he's inspired by Ronta's audacity, and the surge of camaraderie ignites within him. Maguzo takes the lead, sweeping enemies away with his massive longsword while Mary stands firm with her staff. Yume even jumps in with a fire poker. In a moment of worry, Haruhiro yells, "Don't die on me," at Ronta, who wields his weapon with reckless abandon. Their enemies, though numerous, aren't all that organized. Yet, they're slowly encircling the party. Haruhiro reflects on the danger therein and understands that this fight isn't just about physical survival, it's emotional, too. "You're the last person I wanted to hear that from," Ronta retorts to Mary. Even when feeling down, Ronta's spirit remains indefatigable. The urgency builds as Haruhiro commands, "Stick close to the walls." They cannot be pulled apart, separation could spell doom. Haruhiro uses his subordinate-like strategy instinctively and orders everyone up the ladder, one by one, fending off kobolds as they climb. Ronta slaps Maguzo on the back to encourage him, and soon, all are scrambling up the cliff face. But Ronta lags behind, fending off kobolds with dogged determination. "You're weak, so be careful, you idiot," Yume warns, her voice laced with genuine concern. But it's too risky to wait for Ronta. Despite protests, Haruhiro makes the tough call to prioritize getting the rest to safety over risking the others to rescue Ronta. Haruhiro's stomach churns with doubt. How can he even think about abandoning a comrade? Yet, as panic sets in, an ominous howl echoes through the mine. Enemies are near, and Haruhiro's hesitant decision-making turns into hurried action. Snapping back to the urgency of their situation, he orders a retreat. "Let's run," he commands, his voice firm with resolve yet lined with reluctance and regret. Meanwhile, Ronta is having his own battle, not just against the kobolds but also against his insecurities. He reflects on the ridiculousness of his bravado. Even the dread knight Ronta must summon the malicious entity, Zodiac-kun, to muster up the courage to continue fighting. He curses his situation but recognizes this as an opportunity to prove his worth. Ronta's determination is shaped by his chaotic ambition as a dread knight's follower. Amidst the continuing dusty chaos, Ronta manages to kick down several more kobolds, grimacing at his hair-trigger mindset. He clashes with emotions of insignificance and a burning desire to be acknowledged by his peers, especially Haruhiro. "Caterpillar, Caterpillar," Zodiac-kun mockingly echoes as if mirroring Ronta's helplessness and gallant defiance. Exiled from his companions for his rashness yet bolstered by the faith he keeps pressing with every heartbeat, Ronta promises himself he will survive this. He'll show them all his more than braggadocio wrapped in armor. "In other words, I've still got the power left to heap abuse on someone," Ronta quips bitterly, but knowingly. When the party reaches relative safety, having climbed the third level, Haruhiro and the others face new adversaries. A foreman and his followers brandish their crude weapons. Haruhiro keeps his cool, reflecting their strikes one by one. With Maguzo, Yume, and Shihoru at his side, they might just turn this tide around, despite the growing fatigue. At heart, Haruhiro's team lacks neither courage nor resolve, but whether it's enough to pull through this threat intact, or at what cost, remains uncertain. As Haruhiro tightens his grip on his sword, the hope that Ronta is still out there, fighting and living, underpins their struggle, pushing Haruhiro to claim strength beyond specters of doubt. Haruhiro and his companions find themselves in a tense confrontation with a group of attackers. Haruhiro is locked in combat with follower A, trying to fend off a series of aggressive strikes. Despite his best efforts, Haruhiro struggles to maintain his footing. Just when he's about to lose balance, follower A presses the attack, cutting Haruhiro on his arm near the elbow. Staggered by the blow, Haruhiro tries to regain his focus, acknowledging that, just do one thing at a time, might help him stay alive. Meanwhile, follower A advances, and Haruhiro, desperate, manages to dodge another attack by jumping back. Follower A is relentless, using a somersault to close the distance before Haruhiro can recover. Suddenly, follower A's attack finds its mark, delivering a kick to Haruhiro's chest that sends him sprawling on his back. As Haruhiro lies on the ground, vulnerable, follower A approaches again, ready to strike. Haruhiro steels himself, thinking, "Oh, crap. He's gonna get me." Blame. The attack is abruptly interrupted by a blinding light that crashes into follower A, sending him flying backward. This intervention comes from Mary, who casts a spell just in time to turn the tide of battle. Mary rushes forward, crying out, "Smash," and follows up with another strike, her face unwavering with determination. Haruhiro, though dazed, is impressed by her resolute nature, but there's no time to rest. Follower A, undeterred, makes another attempt, lunging at Haruhiro, knife poised. In a swift moment, Haruhiro manages to evade the attack, the dagger striking the ground where he just stood. The ongoing chaos demands teamwork. Maguzo, seeing the urgency, yells, "Nice save," acknowledging Mary's crucial intervention. Yume joins the fray, attempting to support the team by directing Maguzo's attention to their wounds, urging him to focus on recovering. Though Haruhiro feels lucky they managed to survive, he's aware of how close they came to disaster. Once the immediate threat is handled, the group takes a moment to catch their breath. Yume, slightly shaken but still cheerful, teases Shihoru, "I really think that Yume and Haruhiro aren't meant to be on the front line," indicating the unexpected dangers they continuously face. Shihoru, though nervous, agrees, understanding the ever-present risks involved in their fights. In the aftermath, Haruhiro reflects on the situation with Shihoru and comments on how lucky they were. The group shares a moment of relief mixed with a somber understanding of their circumstances. Mary, addressing Haruhiro, emphasizes the need for caution and the importance of prioritizing safety over false bravado. Discussions turn to Ronta, whose antics remain a concern for the group. Yume complains about Ronta's relentless behavior, expressing how his actions affect her. Shihoru sums it up succinctly, "Even if it feels like I'm being ridiculous, I need to come to a calm decision somehow." Haruhiro silently acknowledges that dealing with Ronta requires careful consideration. Maguzo suggests they continue forward to save their friend, underlining the urgency of their mission. Haruhiro agrees and reaffirms his resolve, noting that they must set priorities clearly. "We'll do what we have to do after that one thing." Any objections, he asks, seeking consensus among his comrades. Their commitment is strong, and despite the risks, Haruhiro knows they must act decisively. Meanwhile, Ronta is found grappling with his own challenges. He rambles to himself about the pigworms surrounding him, insisting, "I just can't stay in this pigworm pen forever." Despite the comical nature of his complaints, Ronta's inner struggle hints at a deeper loneliness. He acknowledges Zodiac Kuen's presence, the spectral companion who often mocks him, somehow providing a bizarre sense of comfort despite the chaos. Feeling cornered, Ronta debates with Zodiac Kuen about the futility of his situation. "What am I getting my hopes up for? It's pathetic. I'm a moron," he concludes. Even in humor, Ronta recognizes the reality of his condition, deciding to push forward. His antics continue as he interacts with workers and pigworms, portraying Ronta's chaotic but resilient spirit. Ronta's escapades take a dark turn when he finds himself battling a worker. The struggle is fierce, but Ronta prevails, demonstrating his survival prowess. Afterward, he contemplates his situation, realizing the potential danger still lurking around. Zodiac Kuen's irreverent commentary serves as an occasional reflection of Ronta's uncertainties, reminding him that he's not alone even in solitude. As the night descends, Haruhiro and the group discuss strategies. They aim to find Ronta amid the swarm of kobolds, pondering the risks involved. Mary suggests using the fences for cover, while Haruhiro considers the importance of keeping his team safe. Despite the immense pressure to rescue Ronta, Haruhiro declares, the most important priority was keeping the 5 of them safe. This internal conflict underscores the unspoken priority of ensuring his companion's survival over everything else. With this determination, Haruhiro and his friends embark on their mission, steering through a myriad of emotions, strategies, and dangers. Their journey continues, marked by harrowing battles, fleeting moments of camaraderie, and the relentless push toward an unpredictable future, all part of their enduring bond in this world of uncertainty. Haruhiro and his friends are in the midst of a tense moment. They are strategizing in the aftermath of a fierce battle, and Ronta's reckless behavior is a point of contention. Haruhiro acknowledges the gravity of the situation, realizing that if faced with a choice, they might have to make a difficult decision regarding Ronta's fate. Haruhiro knows this responsibility lies heavily on him as the leader. Amidst these discussions, Yume playfully scolds Ronta, while Haruhiro feels the weight of his role more than ever. He admits his uncertainty and the pressure of feeling like he must always do his best, even if it means letting Ronta carry the burden at times. Yume comforts Haruhiro, reminding him that he's been acting fine, even if he doesn't realize it. Their camaraderie shines through with a few playful exchanges, but the underlying tension is palpable. Haruhiro decides they must not rush into danger without a clear plan, acknowledging the risk of charging in blindly. The group agrees, understanding the need to stay cautious. Haruhiro, worried about the potential consequences, whispers a silent plea in his mind for Ronta's safety, "So don't die, Ronta." Meanwhile, Ronta finds himself pressed down in the middle of a pigworm pen, injured and exhausted. His left arm is severely wounded, making every movement agonizing. Despite this, Ronta reflects on how he often tries to assimilate as a cool, brave person but fails to live up to that image. He realizes the discrepancy between what he wants and the reality he faces, his desire for recognition and fear of abandonment gnawing at him. Ronta reflects on how he saved his comrades before and questions whether they truly hate him. He wonders if they would hesitate to abandon him if things turn dire. Nonetheless, even if they were to cast him aside, he foolishly hopes they'd stop short of it. Suddenly, Ronta finds himself faced with an enemy, one of the workers. His left arm throbs painfully, yet Ronta channels his anger and pierces the worker's throat, silencing it. Despite the pain, he continues to fight, a testament to his stubborn determination to survive. On the other side, Haruhiro and the others are anxiously waiting without any audible signs of change. Haruhiro debates on what could have happened, has Ronta escaped or met a dire fate? His concern is evident as he contemplates their next move, aware they might have to press forward without assurance of Ronta's safety. The party decides to search for Ronta. Yume, demonstrating her unwavering support, pats Haruhiro on the head, a gesture that leaves him slightly embarrassed yet comforted. Shihoru raises a question that hangs heavy in the air: has Ronta's situation turned critical, or has he somehow managed to evade danger? The atmosphere is tense, the sound of kobolds nearby heightens the urgency. Haruhiro leads the party to run towards the noise, determined to find Ronta. As they approach, they spot Ronta being attacked but quickly intervene. Haruhiro manages to distract the kobolds, allowing Ronta a chance to regain his footing. Maguzo, with his imposing stature, comes to Ronta's aid, effectively taking down a kobold worker. Mary, despite her usual calm demeanor, exhibits urgency, instructing Ronta to crouch, shielding him and tending to his injuries. Her healing touch is reassuring, and Ronta, though initially defiant, seems relieved. Throughout this chaotic moment, Ronta reveals glimpses of vulnerability, a side that rarely surfaces. He appreciates Mary's aid and the group's concern despite the usual tough facade he wears. Their banter, even in stressful times, underscores the bond they share, each one reluctant to see the other harmed. What transpires is a testament to their collective resilience. Even as fear looms large, Haruhiro and his team remain united, fully aware of the danger but unwilling to abandon one another. As they regroup, preparing for the next step, the harmony within the party is an unspoken promise: no matter how dire the circumstances, they're in this together. Haruhiro finds himself leading the group through a labyrinthine passageway, his mind racing with the responsibility of their safety in this unpredictable world. He recalls Meri's words, "Head to the third level," and reassures Shihoru, who is doubtful of the path. The camaraderie among them is palpable, with Haruhiro's keen sense of direction providing a beacon of hope. Meri, though initially determined to forge ahead after a brief rest, is now conscious of the physical strain they all endure. The trust she places in Haruhiro becomes a silent acknowledgement of their developing bond, united by shared survival. Suddenly, Shihoru reacts to a sound, a series of soft clicks. Haruhiro, on high alert, senses an ominous presence. Ronta, signaling the group to remain quiet, rallies them with a rare show of caution. As they press on into the darkness, relying on the dim light of their light flowers, anxiety thickens the air. Illuminated by the light flowers, they encounter something chilling: skeletons, donning tattered armor. These figures, devoid of life but animated, are a disturbing manifestation of the realm's grim nature. Meri gasps, recognizing the spectral figures and lamenting their fate as victims of No-Life King's curse. As the unsettling confrontation with these skeletal figures intensifies, Meri reveals a poignant connection: they are the remnants of the former party that Hindi, Choko, and Michiki belonged to, adding a personal layer to the horror before them. Amid the rising tension, an eerie wind blows through the chamber, sending a surge of dread through Haruhiro's group. They are starkly aware that these undead retain some form of awareness, however twisted. "Van!" utters Meri, bewildered by what seems to be the whisper of fallen comrades. The chilling realization that these are echoes of the past adds depth to their plight. Fighting the skeletal warriors isn't just a battle against monsters, it's a battle against the haunted echoes of adventurers who once tread the same path. The encounter turns chaotic. Ronta and Maguzo, driven by instinct and training, engage the skeletal entities in combat. Haruhiro, mindful of the group's safety, maintains his strategic outlook. Yume, her bow at the ready, focuses on any openings to provide precise backup. In the chaos, Ronta and Matsumi find themselves cornered. As Haruhiro seeks to coordinate a defensive strategy, he grapples with maintaining clarity amidst the swirling fight. Matsumi deftly activates elemental magic, enshrouding her staff in flames, a desperate but necessary measure to push back the phantoms. The battle reaches fever pitch with Maguzo matching strength against Og, a skeleton bearing a striking resemblance to him. Maguzo's resolve, forged in camaraderie and determination, stands as a testament to their shared journey, even as he physically engages an enemy mirroring his skill. Haruhiro observes with a sense of urgency as Meri stands resolute near the wall of fire. Her determination to dispel the curse imbued upon their spectral foes is formidable. She emits an incantation, urging her own protective blessing to envelop her comrades. "O light! May Lumiaris' divine protection be upon you." As the relentless conflict unfolds, their strategy hinges on freeing Matsumi, bound to an enemy. Haruhiro, seizing the moment, decides to help Meri close the gap around the blaze. Conflicting emotions of fear and responsibility surge through him. Time itself seems to slow amidst the pandemonium. Noticing Meri's silhouette framed against the dancing flames, Haruhiro is struck by her unwavering poise, both radiant and hardened by the shared hardship they've endured. In a climactic crescendo, Haruhiro's decisive command reverberates: "Dispel!" The skeletons, deprived of their cursed hold, crumble into lifeless heaps. Amidst the aftermath, Haruhiro's heart pounds with relief and recognition of their achievement. Meri, her breath steadying, meets Haruhiro's gaze with solemn gratitude. Together, they gather the remnants of Michiki and others, a ritual meant to honor their lost companions and underline their hard-won survival. In the stillness that follows, Ronta reflects, his humor masking an underlying fatigue and newfound maturity. He was strong, Maguzo muses, earnestly respecting the formidable enemy arrayed against them. The encounter has left an indelible mark, shaping their perspective and reinforcing their bonds. The crew's camaraderie shines as conversations drift to lighter topics. Haruhiro offers heartfelt reassurances to those still carrying their own burdens, subtly admitting the relief he feels knowing they all survived this harrowing ordeal. As the group prepares to move on, Meri, Ronta, and Yume banter about their own personal growth and aspirations. They speak of hopes to develop skills and abilities that might help them thrive in this unforgiving world. All the while, a shared longing to cherish what they've gained, each other. These moments, their hard-won wisdom, is underscored by the fragility of their experience. In an abrupt shift, a new threat emerges, a black and white spotted entity with ravenous intent. Instantly, Haruhiro's instincts flare. The familiar, foreboding command to run grips the group once more, sending them sprinting through the darkened corridors, yet again thrust into survival's relentless dance. The haunting echoes of the undead may have been silenced, but in the world of Grimgar, the trials are constant. Haruhiro and his companions move forward, strengthened by the bonds forged in battle and the collective promise to remember those who fell before them. In the dim chaos of a fierce battle, Haruhiro rallies his companions amidst a dire situation. The group is confronted with death spots, a formidable foe. Haruhiro questions their choices. What if we show our backs? Might that be an option? But quickly dismisses it, knowing retreat isn't possible. Instead, he knows, we have to win. What can we do to win? His thoughts are interrupted as Mary, carrying her paralysis staff, advances boldly alongside him, her resolve unyielding despite the danger. Maguzo, standing courageously, has already been wearing down the relentless death spots. Haruhiro looks anxiously at his friends, admiring their bravery yet understanding the risks. With a decisive rallying cry, Haruhiro shouts, "Sorry, Maguzo. Leave death spots." The group bands together, focusing on defeating the lesser minions. Ronta volunteers, buzzing with his usual reckless energy. "I've got this," he exclaims, injecting a flicker of hope into their dire predicament. Haruhiro charges toward the enemy, and with each step, he faces overwhelming dread. This battle is a test of endurance and nerve, mirrored in each frantic breath he takes. As death spots looms nearby, the group splits its attention between him and the minions to gain a strategic upper hand. Ronta skips around their adversary with a frenetic energy while Yume and Mary proceed cautiously alongside Haruhiro, each strike methodical and calculated. "Diagonal cross!" Yume shouts, her voice sharp as her blade, slicing into the fray to keep the minions at bay. In a dance of steel and fate, Haruhiro stares down his fear, confronting the frantic maelstrom with clarity. "I can do it, it has to be this way," he tells himself, drawing strength from within as his dagger glints menacingly in the skirmish. Maguzo battles valiantly, trapped within a fierce duel against death spots, his valiant defense barely holding. Still, he stands his ground, his resolve unshaken. Meanwhile, Mary and Yume flank their enemies, striving to seize every small victory amidst relentless assaults. Harsh breaths escape Haruhiro as heart-pounding action surrounds him, quickened by adrenaline and urgency. "I need to protect everyone," he swears silently, determination lighting a fire beneath his skin. Should they fall back, death spots would regain control, an outcome Haruhiro cannot accept. In these crucial moments, Ronta dances with the chill of danger, jesting his way through the mounting tension. "Take that," he jokes, slicing down another minion, trying to stay buoyant against the tide of anxiety sealing in. The group rallies with the knowledge that despite the chaos, they've managed to hold lines against terrifying odds. But it's Maguzo, the unwavering shield of their troop, who truly shines through this storm. Though taking on much of the brunt alone, he refuses to falter, showing what true courage embodies. Desperation marks Yume's attacks. "Oh darkness, Lord of Vice," she cries in a plea, fully aware of the stakes at hand. Deathspots engages her relentlessly, forcing Yume into a constant state of alertness and strategy. With the battle reaching its fever pitch, Haruhiro acknowledges their reality. The enemy is overwhelmingly strong. Yet, beneath the surface of imminent danger, a slender thread of hope remains. The dream they fight for can become reality if only they hold their ground. Mary, focused and calm, steadies her bow to unleash an attack alongside Ronta, hoping their strikes may find purchase. Together, they barrage death spots with all they have, striving to force it back, inch by painstaking inch. Suddenly, an opening is found. Haruhiro seizes the moment, clarity honing his instincts into razor-sharp precision. With his relentless determination fueling his every move, he lunges forward, risking it all to end the struggle. The air electrifies with tension as Haruhiro lands his final blow. It's a harmonious dance of resolve and strength, converging into a moment that flares like a phoenix against the night sky. Death spots falters, and with it, the clamor of battle subsides. Haruhiro collapses onto death spots, gasping, the world around him slowing to a whisper. He buries himself in the outcome of their determination, awash with exhaustion and triumph. It's over, the immediate threat is over. Safe at last, they can breathe a brief respite amidst the tumult of their journey. Later, amid warmth and camaraderie, the group reflects on their victory. "We're alive," Haruhiro whispers, both a statement and a silent prayer. The weight of battle is behind them, but its scars still linger, etching a reminder of the cost of freedom and survival. As he gathers with his companions, Haruhiro knows they will face many more trials. Yet, within their collective resolve, an invincible bond has been forged. This battle, a mere stepping stone in a land of fantasy and ash, cements their kinship and lights the way forward through the shadows they must still traverse. Haruhiro finds himself lost in thought, contemplating the group's uncertain situation. He recalls earlier doubts, with nothing but regrets coming to mind. I can't really be happy. Haruhiro understands that being a leader sets him apart from his comrades, recognizing the burden and responsibility that comes with the role. He realizes that there's a persistent gap, an emptiness that seems unfillable. In a moment of light-heartedness, Shihoru interrupts his thoughts, inquiring with a simple "What's up?" Haruhiro snaps out of his reverie, finding Shihoru smiling at him. Concerned, she remarks, "You were acting a little strange," to which Haruhiro can only sheepishly respond, "I was? That's nothing much, really." Mary joins them, jokingly chiding him, "You're a bad liar, Haru." Her light teasing lifts the mood momentarily. As Haruhiro sits, Yume, Shihoru, and Maguzo attempt to lighten the atmosphere. Yume even suggests a knife sword as a humorous solution to their worries. Seeking clarity, Haruhiro decides to talk with Mary. He confides in her, admitting, "I have to be decisive. Even though I'm the party's leader, aren't I? If I don't keep myself together, we'll be in big trouble." Mary offers him reassurance with her composed demeanor. Her straightforward honesty brings Haruhiro a sense of calm, echoing in her words, "Really, it's nothing." Haruhiro smiles and acknowledges it, "Well, that's a lie, but I'm okay." Mary's ability to gently chide Haruhiro and acknowledge his efforts without diminishing them helps him feel grounded. The weight of leadership occasionally feels insurmountable, but moments like this remind Haruhiro that he isn't alone. Reflecting on Mary's steadying presence, Haruhiro realizes, when something makes you happy, it's okay to be happy. Because the good time won't last forever. They might end at any moment. The camaraderie among the group grows as Ronta, Kikawa, and others appear, each offering bits of playful encouragement. Ronta's loud, boisterous nature brings a lively energy, and Haruhiro can't help but feel a sense of relief at seeing them all together. In a surprising turn, a call for Haruhiro's attention comes from a distant Kamuri, from the Daybreakers, beckoning Haruhiro to join them. "It's a kind offer," Mary remarks impassively. Her suggestion to accept the invitation furthers the idea that they should seize opportunities to expand their horizons and find moments of happiness where they can. Haruhiro contemplates this unexpected offer. The idea of connecting with others outside their small circle, while intimidating, also seems promising. Until this point, yesterday's apprehensions have faded, replaced by a sense of hope for the future. Haruhiro decides they should accept the invitation. Gathering resolve, Haruhiro encourages his group, "Let's go, everyone," signaling a fresh chapter of camaraderie and potential new alliances. In this newfound endeavor, there lies a chance to secure both stronger bonds within their group and the possibility of brighter days ahead.